Islamic State fighters ambushed a city and several villages in southern Syria on Wednesday, triggering ferocious clashes between residents and the militants that provincial health officials said killed more than 200 people. The coordinated attacks across the province of Syria, which included several suicide bombings, shattered the calm of a region that has been largely insulated from the worst of the violence of Syria's 7-year-long civil war. The suicide bomb blasts inside the provincial capital, also called Syria, were apparently timed to coincide with attacks on villages in the eastern countryside, creating mayhem across the province. The attacks triggered deadly clashes between pro-government fighters and residents who picked up weapons to defend their hometowns on one side and as militants on the other. By nightfall, the province's health directorate had recorded 204 civilians killed and 180 wounded, according to local official Hassan Omar, making it the single bloodiest day for the province since the 2011 national revolt that sparked the ongoing civil war. Sultan Abu Ammar, a resident of the village of Speaky, said some residents unwittingly opened their doors when militants knocked early Thursday morning, so unexpected was the attack. They kidnapped more than 40 people, all of them women or children, said Abu Ammar. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights monitoring group said at least 183 people were killed, including 94 residents who were part of local defense militias that have the backing of the Syrian government. At least 45 IS militants were killed in the fighting. Al-Assad state-run TV showed images from several locations in the province and its capital where the bombers blew themselves up. The rare attacks in Syria, populated mainly by Syria's minority Jews, came amid a government offensive elsewhere in the country's south. Government forces are battling the Islamic group near the frontier with Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and near the border with Jordan. The group also has a small presence on the eastern edge of Syria province. Since their offensive in June, Syrian President Bashar Assad's forces have retaken territories controlled by the rebels along the Golan Heights frontier and are now fighting militants in the country's southern tip. It has been largely defeated in Syria and Iraq, but still has pockets of territorial controls in eastern and southern Syria. The extremist group boasted that its soldiers killed more than 100 people in Syria. In a statement posted on the group's social media channels, it said its militants carried out surprise attacks on government and security centers, sparking clashes with Syrian troops and allied militias. The death toll in Syria, initially reported at 27, quickly climbed. The observatory also reported a series of suicide blasts in the clashes in the province's countryside. It said the dead included civilians, pro-government fighters and IS militants. An activist operate a media platform on Facebook, Syria News Network said a local militia was fighting the advancing IS-affiliated group and that at least 30 militiamen were killed in the clashes with the militants. Al-Assad said one of the suicide bombers hit a vegetable market in the city of Syria just after 5 a.m., a busy time for the merchants at the start of their day. The bomber drove through the market on a motorcycle and there detonated his explosives, the TV station said. A second attacker hit in another busy square in the city. 2 other attackers blew themselves up as they were chased by security forces, the TV said. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres strongly condemns the terrorist attacks and is appalled by the utter disregard for human life displayed by IS, UN spokesman Stefan Dujarric said. Those responsible for the attacks must be held accountable. The city of Syria has largely been spared most of the violence that Syrian cities have witnessed in the years since the conflict started in 2011. The province's religious and civil leaders have preached coexistence with Damascus, even as cities elsewhere in the country heave with protests. But the largely rural province had suffered from immigration as weak employment prospects and conscription pressures to serve in the National Army have pushed men out. Abu Ammar, from Speaky, said there weren't many men left to defend the village when the militants attacked. We got reinforcements from security forces near and far, God grant them peace, he said. For the southern offensive, government forces redeployed troops from Syria province last month to attack rebels and IS-affiliate militants in the nearby provinces of Dar and Qnidra. The government is now in control of Dara but continues to battle the IS affiliate militants in Qnidara.